Welcome back from that short commercial break. Like I told you, I shall be returning with a demonstration. Remember, like I said, on Smart Tech, we always look at the innovation, how it works, but in particular, we go deeper to understand the demonstrations. We demonstrate how it works. And right about now, I'm going to get in touch with the lady behind this particular innovation, that's Agatha to the agenda, and we are going to have to explore, let me say that, how this innovation works in particular to ensure that as a farmer that is keeping bees right there, it's working out for you very well, so that in case you get it, in case you get a chance to actually purchase it on market, you will know exactly how to use it. And trust me, it's going to be something very beneficial. Let's get into the demonstrations at this very particular hour, this particular minute. Madam Agatha?
Yes.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Yeah, this is a very interesting innovation, and we would love to know, how does it work from scratch?
From scratch?
Yes, because I imagine I'm a farmer. I've just gotten the beehive monitoring system.
Yes.
I don't know how it works. Teach me.
So first, a disclaimer for your audience.
Yeah.
This is a first prototype. So this is not exactly how it will look finally when you want to purchase it.
Okay.
So I'm going to just take you through some of the parameters that we are measuring from the beehive that will eventually be very important for the farmer. So first, here we have a camera. We have a camera here.
Oh, sorry, let me
Sorry,
take a look
on
at
this
that.
side. Yes. So here we have a camera and it's monitoring the front of your beehive. So it's monitoring, are your beehives coming in and coming out? That's an indicator that you have a healthy beehive.
A beehive,
Yes. If the bees are not coming out and going in at a regular interval, then it can be a notification to the farmer that perhaps they might be unwell. That could be an indicator. In the future, would also like to have a camera inside so that we can see what's happening with the bees. Are the bees well? Are they feeding well? Are the workers, producing food for the hive and taking good care of the hive? We'd like to know what's happening inside the hive, but that one has not yet been implemented in this particular solution. So for the start, we just have a camera on the outside of the beehive that lets us know if the bees are coming in
the
and
camera.
coming out. So a camera is attached inside here.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yes, bees are very sensitive insects, as I've noted. And so anything that is new in their environment, they will tend to want to attack it. Yes, so one of our considerations is that how can we be as non-invasive as possible? So we let the bees be in their own world, but insert technology that helps us monitor them and in turn give higher productivity to the farmers. So that's the first piece of information that we'll be collecting, the images. And in future we can use the images to tell, are the bees sick? Are the pests invaded the beehive? Are pests starting to invade the beehive, which is very important to the farmer.
A little bit.
Yes.
You mentioned something that got my attention. Pests invade beehives.
Yes, they do. So like the beetles, there are mites that invade the beehives. So in the future, I would like to detect, early detection is the key, because then the farmer can intervene at that point. Because currently, the way it's done in Uganda is that it's very rudimentary and very manual. And sometimes the farmers, because of the hassle of having to go back and forth all the time, might neglect their beehives for a long time. So with this camera, if you're monitoring, and it sends an indicator maybe to your phone, then you can tell, oh, there might starting to invade my beehive. I need to do something at that particular point. Yes. So that's the camera. It's going to be very important for collecting both the video feed and the images from the beehive. Right now in our prototype, we've implemented the external camera. In the future, we'd like to have one on the inside of the beehive that also monitors the activity on the inside of the beehive. Yes. And
so
then
we could open. Maybe you're saying something, you're still adding something.
Then secondly, if we just open up here in the roof, we have other sensors. We have other devices that are going to be collecting other types of information that also, in the grand scheme of the looking after bees of apiculture, helps to give us more information. So inside here we have a microphone. Bees basically communicate with the flapping of their wings, with the sounds that they make. Even for the ordinary farmer, they would know what the sound indicates. The sound could indicate that they are ready to move out, so they're going to swarm, they're going to go away from the beehive. The noise could indicate the bees are under distress, So different sounds, when picked up, notify something about the beehive. It also notifies that they're about to go away, so the bees are maybe not happy with the conditions that have changed.
Okay.
And something else that we'd like to monitor in the future is pesticides. Also, when the pesticides come and affect the bees, there's a different sound that they give. When they're sick, there's a different sound that the bees give off. So with the installation of a microphone, being able to capture that sound, you have to be able to interpret the sound and also notify the farmer using that, either that your bees are about to swarm, or your bees are not well, or the queen is absent or it's present.
Okay.
I'm sure from your primary science, remember that queen bee is the most important bee in the beehive. She's the one that produces all the others. So very important for us to monitor.
Okay.
Then here we also have a carbon dioxide sensor.
Oh.
Yeah, so just like any other living creature, the carbon dioxide levels will help us monitor if the bees are well or unwell. If the carbon dioxide levels are reducing from what the ordinary levels would be, that could be a possible indicator that something is not right with that beehive. Does that mean that the bees are dying? Does that mean that bees are unwell and are not, their metabolic rate is not functioning as it would normally? So also carbon dioxide sensor, very important to us. We're also going to monitor the temperature and humidity, both internally but also externally. Okay,
so there are two?
So there are two. So there's the internal one, temperature and humidity, internally, and also temperature and humidity externally. So the temperature and humidity is also a very important factor to measure. Bees generally should be able to regulate their internal temperatures. So if the temperatures go high, they fan and bring them low. If the temperatures go too low, then they shiver and they get closer to each other to ensure that the temperatures are in about 32 degrees to 36 degrees at all times within the hive. So if we see that trend depart, it's also an indicator that something might not be right with the beehive, and we can notify the farmer of that, and then he can come and check. So it's going to be a very important tool. I just want your audience not to be worried or scared. The final product will not be seeing all these wires. We are hoping that it will just be a small unit that the farmer can just plug and play onto their hive. You don't need to be literate, just plug it onto your hive and then download the application. So something else, as I've told you, we are a team, right? So eventually we'll transmit this information to a remote server, so you can access it on your computer. You just need to have an internet connection on your phone or on a computer and be able to view all these different parameters and be able to get all these different notifications on your computer. An important question that we've been asked before is that many of the parts in Uganda have poor connectivity. How are we going to deal with that?
Talk about that, the internet.
Yes, the internet.
Yes.
Not everyone has internet. So in our design, we are thinking about that. Can we maybe, in the places that don't have a good connectivity, be able to get this data that we are collecting, process it, and then send an important notification to the farmer's phone? Maybe tell him images showing that bees might be sick or pests might have attacked you. So that farmer that's in an area that's not well connected can maybe not get all the full features that a person who is connected might get, but they can get important information that helps them with decision support in as far as their apiary is concerned. Now, most importantly, maybe the farmers would love to hear this, that down here we've actually created a weight module.
A weight module?
Yes.
What does that do?
The weight module is measuring the weight of the hive. So as the honey is starting to be produced in the hive, we'll see an increase, you'll see a gradual increase in the weight of this beehive. And that could also help them notify the farmer this is the optimum time to collect honey. And also when you collect honey, because honey is actually food for the bees, we just take some away as human beings and eat it, but it's actually the bees' food. So they're also supposed to leave a minimum amount for the bees to continue feeding on. So it would be very important. Right now the farmers, again, it's manual, it's rudimentary. The farmer has to go and check, is the honey ready? Is it time to harvest? But with this, we can notify them the weight has reached to this particular point. You can now harvest your honey, which goes a long way in helping them become more efficient and even have a higher productivity. Yes. So as you notice, we're going to have a weather component that's not fully developed now, but the weather component helps because the weather has been changing. It has been changing over time. There's climate change happening all around the world and in Uganda too. Sure. And because of that, it has affected what is known as the bee calendar, the honey calendar. So the honey calendar determines at what time the farmers would go seasonal, like everything else in Uganda. There's a seasonal time when we harvest our maize, when we plant our maize, but that has been varying. And all that also affects the honey bee. And something else that I would also like your audience to know today is that the bee pollinates about 70% of the crops that we eat. So it's important that we take care of the bee. It's important that we nurture the bee and that the bee is alive so that we can be alive. So anyway, because of the changes in climate that have happened, we've also seen the honey calendar change. So the weight is going to be very important to tell the farmer, no, the honey is not yet ready for you to harvest. You need to come at this particular time to harvest the honey.
Wow.
Yes.
That's so very, very interesting. I can still see inside this hive.
Yes.
I'm seeing some kind of glass.
Yes. So that is where we have, for now, that is the glass. Yeah. Because the bees tend to attack anything that gets into the environment that's foreign.
Okay.
So that glass is where we're going to be inserting the camera that's going to be able to view the internal part of the beehive. Yes.
Okay.
Otherwise,
very remarkable.
it would be very hard for us to get any images. So that's the idea that we have right now. But as I've said, this is just a first prototype.
Yeah.
Maybe as we improve it, we'll call you again and you keep updating your viewers to the progress that we've made.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Madam Agatha,
You're welcome.
for taking us through this particular aspect on how it works. Remember, 70% of the crops that we consume as human beings are being pollinated by the bees. So you can see the importance of embracing technology that's in agriculture. So the rudimentary style of beekeeping probably may not be the best for you as a farmer out there, but as they say, it's just a prototype. But of course, we expect more, maybe finally. Just one more, in 1 minute. How best can the government help you to ensure that we maximize this and we have this produced on the East African market in 1 minute?
So as far as this goes, would like the government to actually take an interest in this, especially when it comes to time for deployment, to make it easy for us to get into all those different areas, to assist us with any funding that we might need, because it's going to be a mammoth task to eventually deploy this in different places. So if the government could help us with any resources that would require to ensure that this becomes a success and is usable by the ordinary farmer. We're also working with Ministry of Agriculture. I don't know if that had been mentioned, yes, but we're working closely with Ministry of Agriculture to make sure that this innovation actually works for here and helps them solve some of the challenges that they are currently facing.
There is a farmer who has a question that, how much does it cost?
Yes, we receive that question every single time we take this on an exhibition, and it's a very good question. Currently, because this is prototypes, this is a prototype stage, and what we are basically trying to do is prove that the concept works. It would not be a very good basis, but we know at the back of our mind as we develop this that we are developing it for the ordinary Ugandan farmer. So we're going to bring it to as low as is possible. The ordinary farmer can purchase it and it can make economic sense in as far as his productivity is concerned. Otherwise, all our effort would be futile. So as part of our goals, what we want is to be able to make sure this solution is affordable to the ordinary farmer. Yes.
Maybe somebody might maybe want to know, does it attract bees to come? Because it's technology and...
Yes. So as part of our design, of course, currently it's outside, but eventually we'll have to have it in like a dark casing, have everything dark, because as you know, bees are attracted to anything that's bright. They think it's a flower. So eventually it will have to be encased in a dark covering and be a dark color that's not really, that does not call attention to the bees and does not stand out.
Then the last question. There is a farmer deep in the village. Perhaps they don't even have access to electricity. Any way forward for them? In any way you're trying to maybe solar or something?
Oh yes, very good question. Yes, so currently we are considering solar as a source of energy, but would need to have a portable power source. because we want you to be able to place the unit as a standalone unit on your beehive and be able to use it that way, and maybe the batteries that we eventually use or the power source that we eventually use can be recharged using solar power, or if you can go further, find power from the mains and be able to use that. So ideally at the end we'd like to have a portable power source also, because the apiaries tend to be in remote areas. So a portable power source would suit this innovation perfectly, and we're also working on that aspect of the innovation too.
All right, very interesting. This is thank you so much, Madam, for this very amazing innovation, and of course we expect to see more of this in the future, and we know our farmers right there are going to embrace it, those that are of course embracing apiculture as a business. And yes, and this is Smart Tech, remember, and this week we decided to talk about apiculture, how to keep the beehives, the new way of how best you can keep bees, let me say that, with a modern beehive monitoring system. And that's it, what we had for you on Smart Tech this week. I'm your host, Anju Barije. Till next week, have a good bye.